Hi, you're listening to Book Chat with author Vivian E. Moore. Thanks for joining us.
Keep listening to our weekly episodes to find out more.
Hi, and welcome to Book Chat. I am your host, Dr. Vivian E. Moore. I hope everyone is having a great day. Hope you're having a great Saturday. Today we have with us author Laura VOSIKA, and we're going to be talking to her about quite a few things. And so before we get started on today's show, I want to give her the opportunity to introduce herself. So, Laura, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. And first, just let me say welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And thanks for agreeing to chat with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. You have quite a repertoire of abilities and accomplishments under your belt. And so I'm going to let you just tell the audience a little bit about yourself, and then we'll just go from there.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll start with the music, since that's sort of what I did first. I have played music all my life, so I started on organ and got kicked out of organ lessons. And ironically, ended up teaching music lessons.
Wow.
And I ended up majoring on trombone, found an instrument I really liked, but I also myself other instruments. Every year I take some money that my grandmother had given me and I would buy an instrument and teach myself to play it. So I majored in music and did some freelance playing for up until I was about 30. I still do occasionally, but not much. And then I got back to writing. I had written all my life, but I sort of took a long break. So in 2005, I joined National Novel Writing Month, which is in November, and started writing this series of books. And what was meant to be a standalone book about an accidental time-traveling musician ended up becoming 5 books. So that's kind of the long and short of it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. Well, not only are you all of these other things, but somehow you manage to to create a family while doing all these things. So you're not just a superwoman, but you're my shero, and I applaud you. I give you much respect for this. So you have 9 children.
I do, yes.
And pets.
Yes. Sorry?
And pets.
I have, yes. The pets are important. Let me see. I have, of my 9 children, 7 of them are boys.
Oh, wow.
And 2 of those are identical twins.
Oh, my goodness.
And the oldest is, he'll be 30 in May, and my youngest will be 14 in May.
Oh, my
gosh.
So
at this point, I only have 3 left in school.
Okay.
And let me see. Let me go down the list here. A few of them are out of state right now. So my middle child, who is my 3rd son, is in Japan right now. So he just left a few days ago, and he's a Marine. So he's stationed in Hawaii, and he'll be in Japan for a month. So that's kind of exciting for all of us.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear from him how he's liking that.
I know.
I have a daughter who is in Nashville, and she is at Vanderbilt University finishing up her PhD, and she is studying how we acquire languages. So that's also very exciting. A couple months from now, she'll have her degree, her PhD. And then I have a son down in Iowa, and he does computers, and he's married. His wife is a teacher. She teaches English and speech, and they have a baby, so I'm a grandmother now.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, his name is Henry, and he is, I believe he's 8 months old now.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Very exciting, and I think they're loving every minute of having a baby.
Wonderful.
And then I've got 3 of my kids are still at homes, and one is down in southern Minnesota in college.
Oh, okay.
And so he's studying, I think he's going to be studying philosophy and political science.
Okay.
And then I've got some kids at home, and they're in music, and they're in track and wrestling, things like that.
Okay.
And then I have, let's see, of the pets, we are down to 1 dog and only 2 cats.
Oh, okay.
One of the cats went to stay with my daughter in Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
That was the infamous Princess Monster Truck.
What a name.
Yeah, it's a great name. We get a kick out of it, and so do other people. So I called the vet one day, and I don't know what we had to get done, shots or something, and she asked, what's the cat's name? And I said, well, promise me you're not going to laugh. And she's like, oh, no, I would never laugh. And I said, Princess Monster Truck. And I heard this on the other line.
She broke that promise.
So
well, I mean,
we got through making the appointment and all, and we got to the end, and she said, okay, so on Friday at 1:00, we'll see. This monster truck.
That's to be expected, yeah. That is definitely.
It is, but no, we have fun with that. But at the time we got her, there were 5 boys living in the house, and we were down to, I think, no pets at that time.
Oh.
No, we had just a dog. And so it was the 5 boys and me.
Oh, okay.
So we got this female cat. She's this beautiful, long-furred, kind of a ragdoll cat. Just flops her. And so she seemed like a prince. So there had to be Monster Truck in there. So,
Okay.
that's how she got the name.
Oh, okay. All right. Well.
And we thought that.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
And,
that's important.
We have a cat. What? And then we've got this big dog, an Irish Wolfhound.
Oh, wow. I think I've seen pictures of those before. Yeah. And they are massive dogs.
Yes, they are. They're the world's tallest breed.
Oh, my gosh.
And I got her because she is very much like what the characters in my book would have had in medieval Scotland.
Oh, okay.
So, bit by bit, I've got the harps that they play in the book. I've got the trombones they play in the book. I've got a medieval helmet here. I've got a sword on my wall.
Wow.
I've got the dog. So bit by bit.
Well, that's your inspiration right there. You have all the things that you need to keep you writing, to keep you inspired right there in the house with you. So now let's talk about your work as a writer and about your book. You didn't give me the title of it. So what is it called?
Oh, well, the whole series I call the Bluebells Chronicles.
Bluebells Chronicles. Okay.
The Bluebells Chronicles.
Okay.
Right. So the first book is in the series. It was meant to be a standalone, and then it sort of evolved into a trilogy. But each of the second and third books got a little long, so it became a 5-book trilogy.
Okay.
And so the first book is called Bluebells of Scotland.
Okay.
And it's the story, the whole series is the story of this obnoxious, arrogant musician. He's a trombone player. And he's having the time of his life. He goes to audition for second chair in the orchestra, and he's so good they give him first.
Oh, wow.
And he's a powerhouse. He's a great businessman, and he's got charisma, personality plus. And so he takes this little Midwestern orchestra and just turns it into a phenomenon.
Oh, okay.
And now they're traveling the world, and the musicians are making great money, and people are making trading cards of them, and everybody wants to hear them play. And the problem is, he is a real troublemaker too.
Oh, okay.
And so he's gambling, and he's drinking, and he's throwing wild parties everywhere they go on tour, and getting into trouble with the hotel staff, and hitting on all the women, and he's cheating on his girlfriend.
Oh, my goodness.
And they can't get rid of him because he's making them tons of money, but they can't keep him because he's causing them a lot of trouble. Yeah. And so what finally happens is his girlfriend has enough. He pushes her too far finally. And they're up at the top of this Scottish tower while they're on tour in Scotland. And she gets angry and she walks off and leaves him, and she drives his car away. And he's like, I don't want to go through this mist, and I can't walk 15 miles home. So he just decides to keep drinking his beer, and he falls asleep at the top of the tower, and he wakes up in the wrong century.
Oh, my gosh.
So And at the same time, there is a medieval warrior. Now, the musician is named Sean Kleiner.
Sean, okay.
And at the same time, in this castle back in the 1300s, there is a medieval warrior named Neil Campbell.
Oh, okay.
And he has an argument with his betrothed up at the top of the tower.
Uh-huh.
And he stays in the tower too, and he falls asleep, and he wakes up in Sean's time.
Oh, so they sort of reverse places. They reverse centuries. Okay, okay.
Yeah, and part of what happens is, Neil obviously figures out really fast that he's in the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
Sean doesn't figure it out so quickly because he had been to the castle the day before with his girlfriend, and they had reenactors there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he wakes up in the morning, he thinks he's still with these reenactors. But he gets pressed into service to go cross country and raise troops for the upcoming Battle of Bannockburn, which is the backdrop of the story.
Uh-huh.
And he has to face who he is, and he has to finally start facing that his actions have a lot of consequences, and that he convinces himself that he's just this fun-loving guy, but he has to face that, no, he's really done a lot of harm. And so it ends up becoming a story of redemption, and he's caught in medieval Scotland for 2 years, and eventually gets home, but then has to decide, who am I going to be now that I have my money and my power back?
Right.
And then he ends up, of course, facing kind of a final test that leads us to the end of the book.
Okay,
so
so
end of the series.
It sort of sounds like that, in order for him to, it sounds like he was pre-selected anyway to go on this journey because there was a lesson for him to learn.
Yes.
And so once he learned it, then, he was free to go back to his life or choose to stay where he was. Now, I love this. And when I was reading your bio, and you mentioned Diana Gabaldon. Well, Diana Gabaldon is like one of my favorite authors, historical favorite writers, and she's like a master of Scottish historical fiction. And I've read the entire Outlander series. I've read it at least a half dozen times, all of the books, and I'm still waiting for the finale of the story to come. Now, I enjoy medieval history and stories probably a little too much, and
you can't enjoy too much.
I'll go with that. I'll agree with that. But William Wallace, who was a very historical person in Scotland's history, we know. Well, I know about him from the movie Braveheart,
right?
And it's one of my favorite movies. And anytime I see it on television, I have to watch it because it's just so. It's so powerful and so moving, and then it's based on on truth, and and he even then back in the 13th century he was fighting for Scotland's independence from the English rule. And you also mentioned James Douglas and Robert the Bruce, who were two other historical figures from this period. So can you tell us how this story, how you started at this point of wanting to write about medieval history, but you did Scottish. So can you tell us how this came to be?
Okay, well, first of all, just to put it in perspective or in relation to William Wallace, Bruce, for those who are listening and don't know, Bruce sort of picked up the banner after William Wallace was executed in 1305. And my story picks up once Bruce picked up this banner, he had sort of a long road to take back the castles that Edward I of England had already taken from Scotland. And it took about 7 years, and they were down to the last one, and that's where the Battle of Bannockburn happened. It might have been the last two, but that was Scotland's greatest victory.
Okay.
So how I ended up there, I kind of joke that I might be the only person who ended up in Scottish medieval history by way of trombone. As I said, the main character is a trombonist, and I was sort of by profession, by trade, a musician, and trombone was my major instrument. I did play others, but that was what I majored on in college. And I played in orchestras, big bands, all kinds of things. And so a lot of high school trombonists, if they're pretty good, if they're really serious about the instrument, really like it a lot, they'll usually try a piece called Bluebells of Scotland. And there's an old folk song called that, but a man named Arthur Pryor turned it into what we call a theme and variations for trombone. So it's a classical piece of classical repertoire solo for trombone. And it's designed to show what the instrument can really do. It's full range, which is probably 4.5 octaves or so, and just how fast it really can go, because it's a hard instrument to play. It's kind of unwieldy, but when you really, really work at it, learn it well, it's incredible what it can do. And so this piece, Bluebells of Scotland, was written as a showcase for it.
Okay.
And in the story, of course, my main character, Sean Kleiner, he is a trombonist, and this is his signature piece. He likes his hair long, back in a ponytail, and, he's just this really cool guy. And he finishes his concert strutting across stage playing this piece. It's his signature piece, and everybody loves it. And so I thought, well, if that's his signature piece, and that's what the book is called, it almost has to be set in Scotland.
Okay.
And so one of the other influences on this story was, first of all, the lyrics of the song are, they include the words streaming banners and noble deeds. And that's kind of the sort of story I like to read. So it's the kind of story I wanted to write. And I thought, well, that probably is going to involve battle. I can't see how it could involve anything but battle.
Right.
And so I started researching the battles of Scotland. And, any country, you're going to find plenty of battles to pick from. But in Scotland, I would say there are two main ones. And Diana Gabaldon's book, and by the way, I just met her in February.
Oh, wonderful.
And, I was at the Amelia Island Book Festival where she was the featured author, and so she did pose for a picture reading my book.
Great.
So I have a picture of Diana Gabaldon reading my book.
Great.
So that's exciting for her. But anyway, her books the backdrop is the Battle of Culloden.
Culloden.
Yeah, that was their worst defeat, and it was just pretty much almost ended their culture as they knew it.
Yeah.
In many ways it did. But Bannockburn was their greatest victory. And it just, I think it made sense to me, given what I was writing, to pick their great victory.
Okay.
And so that's how I ended up in that time frame.
Okay. Well, I mean, because I was wondering about that, because I love history. I love all history, especially medieval. But I'm not a historian, but I know that you are, and so that was one of my questions was, why did you choose medieval history, Scottish history, opposed to American history? But you have a love for it, obviously, for that time frame. And I just think it's wonderful because, I'm so fascinated by it anyway, and, I can't, I just can't get enough of reading about, Scotland and all the things that, that took place during that time, all, the battles. And I mean, and this happened for, since the English rule started there, and all the way through the 18th century, where Diana Gabaldon's book is, that time period is where her book is placed. But for so long to battle, for freedom. So I can see a lot of stories, a lot of books, being written. Just about this time frame, but I love too how you have incorporated your love for music with these stories.
Thank you.
And the characters, the main character is a musician. So I love that, how you can just link all of the things that you like together, to make fascinating stories about, and not to mention all of the the digging that you have to do. The research and things to get all of the facts, to place into the story, to make it cohesive and also entertaining at the same time. So it's a lot of skill is involved with that, and And you seem to be a master of it, as well as Donna Galvin is. So I can't wait to read your.
You.
I cannot wait to read your series. So if you will, right quick, tell everyone where they can find your books.
Well, they're available on Amazon. You can get them. I think Barnes & Noble still has a book site, don't they?
They do. They do.
Yeah, okay, you can get them at Amazon, at Barnes & Noble. You can get them on Nook, on iTunes, on Kindle. Pretty much any e-reader, you should be able to find them.
Okay.
And I do have a site, www.bluebellschronicles.com. You'll actually get to the same site by my name, lauravosika.com. And then, of course, I'm at Facebook, at Twitter, I'm on Pinterest. I have a YouTube channel where people can hear some of the medieval music, hear some of the Scottish songs.
Now, I want that. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I want that one because I would love to listen to. I love.
YouTube channel?
Yes, the YouTube channel.
Look up Bluebell's Chronicles.
Okay.
And I'm not sure, the URL doesn't have that in it, but if you just put in Bluebell's Chronicles, it should come up.
Okay. All right. Well, I will definitely go out there and check that out, as well as check out your website to look at your books, because I do want to read them. I have to start with the first one. Now, they're not on audio yet, are they?
No, they're not. And that is on my list of things to do.
Okay. All right, because that's generally how I listen to books these days, because I don't have time to actually sit down and physically read a book, so I just listen to them, while I'm working.
Yeah.
But I have enjoyed talking with you today. Have learned a lot about your background, what you do, your love for music, and your love for history. We could talk all day about history, and
I could tell you so much about that time frame. I could.
Well, I mean, but that is the makings for many more books, for many more projects, to come. So I wish you all the success in the world. I hope you continue to write about this interesting subject, this interesting topic of history, because you would be surprised how many people, or don't even know American history, but they really don't know about, the world history, as it is.
And that's what I love about historical fiction. You learn so much from it.
You do. You really do. I mean, you go into it thinking it's just going to be a story, but then you learn. A story. But you learn so much along the way, and that's what makes it worthwhile. Laura, again, thank you so very much for joining me today on the show. Hopefully we can touch bases maybe later on and see what you're up to when you start any new projects. We can do that, and I'll reach out to you. And again, thank you for coming on and being a guest today. And I hope everybody jotted down the information that she gave you, where you can find her books, how you can reach out to her on social media, and also check out the YouTube for the music. All right. Okay. Thanks, Laura.
Thanks so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, folks. So there you have it. We've just finished chatting with Laura VOSIKA, and very interesting conversation about her book, the Bluebell Chronicles, and how it deals with medieval Scotland. And like I said, that's one of my favorite times of history. One of those that country there. I love reading about Scotland and all of those amazing things that went on during that time frame and still going on now. I just can't get enough of it. I am an avid Outlander fan and cannot wait for this next season to start on television. So you need to check it out. And Laura just sent me a message saying she's thanking me for being on the show today. So I really enjoyed her. And I appreciate the time that she gave me to talk about her work and everything that she's doing. So, folks, I'm not going to hold you much longer. I just want to tell you how to keep in touch with the show and how to reach out to me. Of course, the show is broadcast on Spreaker, and that is Spreaker.com/user/author Vivian E. Moore. Also, I am on all social media sites: Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram if you want to go out there and check me out. If you go to the Spreaker site, then it will link you to all of the other ones that I just mentioned. You can also check the show out on iTunes and iHeartRadio that also broadcasts live. And if you missed the live show today, you can definitely go to those sites as well as Spreaker and listen to it whenever you get the opportunity. I won't have a script for today's show on my blog site, but you can still go out there and look at all the other ones that are currently being listed out there, and that is at https://vivianemore.blogspot.com. And also, I hope that you're planning to go out and worship tomorrow. It is the second Sunday. We're counting down to Easter Sunday, and take some family members with you, take some friends, take some neighbors, and most definitely take some children, and tell someone that you love them, because tomorrow is not promised. Today may be the only chance you get to say that. So I love you. Hope you love me back. Until the next time you hear my voice, God bless you and goodbye.
If you enjoyed today's show, please head over to iTunes, give us a rating, and leave a review.
Like us on Facebook.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for joining us